A fairy tale has two things in common. It has a dark forest and a dark moment. How you handle that dark forest, how you handle that dark moment determines everything. You want to know the people that go from good to great to unstoppable? They didn't run from that dark moment. They don't think about that dark moment as they get older, but they never forget. And when you never forget, that internal fire never goes out. It never goes out.
Winners run towards the fire. Winners were built for pressure. Winners were knitted in their mother's womb for pressure. Winners have the mindset that they don't have to deal with pressure. Pressure has to deal with them. In fact, a true winner thrives in the pressure even more than a regular, low-stress situation because they adopted the mindset that they were built for the pressure.
When you are in uncertainty, when you feel at risk, when you feel exposed, don't tap out. Stay brave, stay uncomfortable, stay in the cringy moment, lean into the hard conversation, and keep leading. Stay brave.
No one will believe in you until you believe in you. And then when you start believing in you, the world starts believing in you. The greatest visions frighten the status quo. And yet those are the very visions that disrupt markets and change the world.
Where would you be right now if you had done what you said you were going to do the first time you said you were going to do it? Or maybe even the second or third time? The answer to that question usually sucks. It's not fun to think about the amount of time that you spent kicking the can down the road, pretending that you're going to do what you said you were going to do one day. So don't do it now. Don't watch this video and then 6 months, 1 year, 5 years down the road, find yourself asking the exact same question then that you are now. Don't make your entire life a question of what if I had just done it when I said I would. That is a life full of disappointment and regret. And that is not something that you want to live with, and certainly not something you want to die with.
There's only one main reason that's stopping you from reaching your dream: your inability to steer through emotional cycles. When you begin executing an idea, you're excited and ambitious, driving the mind into euphoria. But the deeper you go, the more you realize it's harder than you thought. As obstacles arise, so does fear and self-doubt. You start questioning if the effort is worth it. You start looking for excuses and think maybe another path would be easier. This is where most people quit. To get through this, it takes courage and commitment. To get through this means you're closer to your goals than you think.
Fear is what you must face. Doubt is about you. Everything that you doubt, you've created. Nobody else creates doubt. You create that doubt. Fear is about pressure, and pressure is a privilege. If you're put under a pressure situation, that means somebody believes in you. Pressure is a gift. Doubt creates panic. When you doubt yourself, that's when panic starts to happen. So when you're under that pressure situation, embrace it. Because you know what pressure does? Pressure pushes what's great outside of you.
Once you become obsessed with something, it's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you gotta be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great. So if your family doesn't understand, why are you so daggone crazy? Because I'm trying to be the best I can to give you the best that I am. And it takes being obsessed to where people think you're crazy.
Do not be afraid to fail, because failure is not the end. Failure is merely a stepping stone on the path to success, so just embrace it as a valuable teacher and let it fuel your determination to try again and again and again.
Say you want to be great, let your actions, let your words display that. If you say you really want to be elite, let your actions and let your words display that.
Two of the most dangerous words a person can say on their way to success is good enough. Good enough for who? Who said it was good enough? Who said the effort that you're putting in right now is good enough? Who said that your education level right now is good enough? Who said that your people skills right now are good enough? Who said that your website, your business structure, who said it's good enough? We're not going after what's good enough. We're going after what's best.
The greatest things in the world were built by tired people. All right, I know you're tired. I know it's hard. I know you're exhausted. The fucking wonders of the world, guess who they were built by? Exhausted people. The buildings that you admire, guess who they were designed by and built by? People that were tired. Everything great in the world was built by tired motherfuckers. So it doesn't matter if you're tired. You just have to keep going.
Vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this you will build your life by. This you will become.
Mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it. Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up.
I want you to live your life. Your life is a book. You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was the book? All right, made some mistakes, life goes on. You take those moments, you make the best of them because they're life lessons. You figure out life from this point. Sun gonna be up in the morning regardless. And at nighttime, the moon gonna be there. And you gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by.
The Buddha says, being in a state of pain, anxiety, or in a state of suffering comes from attachment. When you're attached to things, attached to people, attached to identities, attached to philosophies, then you end up being in a situation where you experience pain. But you don't have to experience suffering if you live in a state of no expectation, where you're just living life, taking it day by day, step by step, and enjoying yourself. You always have the pain of comparison. It's easy to compare yourself in the age of the internet to other people. The pain of living in the future, right? The pain of what you could be, you should be, but you aren't. You can liberate yourself from a lot of these things by living in the present moment, by being here right now.
We may not be able to control everything in our outer world, but we certainly can control our inner world. And so it's not so important to not react. I mean, everybody reacts, I react. The question is, how long are you going to react? So if you keep an emotional reaction going on for an extended period of time, you're memorizing that emotion, and your body, as the unconscious mind, is believing it's living in the same past experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We become addicted to the very life we don't even like. So it's important then for people to realize then, when you have that moment where you have crisis or something breaks down, that you do have control over it, and it's a formula.
If you think that everything is too good to be true, you're going to be right 9 out of 10 times. The only issue is that 1 out of every 10 opportunity, that could be the one that could change your life. So optimists fail far more than cynics, but eventually they hit a home run. So always keep your guard up, protect yourself, be street smart, but never fully close yourself off to the fact that you might have a life-changing opportunity in front of you.
These are words to remember when anyone tries to tell you to give up, tell you to give in, because whatever you're trying to do is impossible. Impossible is just a word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. I'm here to say you will make mistakes along the way. You will fall down. I have many times, but what we do after that fall is how we make history, because impossible is nothing.
If you look at the greats in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation.
Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. Build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays.
It's risky is living your life and never trying for anything and never doing something brave and never getting yourself scared, and in a good way.
You know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're all going to die one day. So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. You know, go for it.
A lot of people think they have all this time, so they f***ing waste it. And they never go out and do what they really set out to do or accomplish or do anything great in their life. You think when you're young that you have all this time. You have no time. There's no time. There is no tomorrow, you know? There is no tomorrow. That shit. Let's get all this shit done today.
Contemplate the price you pay for inaction. So I think a lot of the time we presume that inaction has no cost, but it does. Inaction does have a cost because your attention is the most important thing that you have. So contemplate the price that you pay for inaction. It's a justification for you doing things sooner rather than later and committing.
Every morning when you get up, say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. I do it now, do it now. Whenever you have this tendency to procrastinate, program your subconscious mind with this automatic conditioned command, do it now, do it now, do it now. The key to overcoming procrastination is to develop a sense of urgency. Be the kind of person who gets things done quickly. Be the kind of person who launches fast on a task. Say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. Do you know that less than 2% of the population have a sense of urgency, and that there's not an example of a successful person anywhere who does not have a sense of urgency? That if you just develop a sense of urgency when somebody gives you a task, that you get on it and do it fast, that alone will move you into the top ranks in a very short period of time.
Why do you try to make them understand you when they don't even understand themselves? They judge your actions but don't even care to think about theirs. They criticize your every move while they blindly stumble around. You're trying to garner respect from the wrong people. It is apples and oranges. They view reality differently than you do. And every minute you spend trying to sell them on your dream is a minute you are not spending actually trying to achieve it.
When you're grateful, you can't be worried. You can't be fearful. When you're grateful, you can't be angry. And anger and fear are what screw people up most in their relationships, in their life, in their business. So I wire myself. I was saying to you that most people want to be happy, but their habit is to be worried or pissed off or frustrated or stressed. And so they've got a highway to stress and they got a dirt road to happiness.
One of my most powerful motivational frames is thinking about the person that I want to become as the destination. And thinking like, I want to be bulletproof. I want to be bulletproof in these ways. I want to be bulletproof in my marriage. I want to be bulletproof in my business, etc. And I think about that man, whoever I want him to be. Like we said, hell is when you look at who you could have been and realize that you're not that person. And then I think, if I were to make that man, what would I put that man through to make him who he is? Like, it wouldn't be easy times. It wouldn't be quick wins. It wouldn't even be easy wins. It would be the toil and the struggle of achieving and reaching for things that are right out of grasp. And so when I'm going through those like really harder times, I like to think of like looking in my mental mirror of like, I'm making you. I'm not there yet, but I'm making you.
You need to understand that for 90% of the journey, you will not see the port. But you can trust that if you do the right actions, you'll eventually get there. And it's the same thing with life. You must understand that most of the time you won't see the fruit of your labor for an extended period of time. But then once you hit the 99%, you begin to see the port of destination, the port of arrival. And then you catch the second wind to maximize on the momentum. For 99% of the journey, where most of you guys are at right now, you will not see the port of destination, but you must trust it.
But what if things work out and everything turns out better than you imagined? What if things change? Life has a funny way of unfolding sometimes. So don't give up. Wake up every single day knowing that you're one step away from success. Anything is possible if you're willing to work for it. Just stick with it a little longer. What do you have to lose?
Study yourself, make yourself better. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Learn from them. Don't change who you are to become somebody else. Think about the time that you spend in your life trying to be somebody you're not. If you put that time and effort and energy into being who you were and who you are, how much farther along would you be in life?
6 months. You got 6 months left in the year. Why don't you take those 6 months and donate that time to your future self? Why don't you commit to something that you're going to thank yourself for doing 6 months from today? Because when January 1st rolls around, you can either be 6 months closer to your goals, or you can be exactly where you are right now, if not a little further away. You can either get to January 1st and be so pissed off about what you did the previous 6 months that you feel like you have to change your whole personality with a whole list of resolutions, or you can get to January 1st and have things be going so well that you feel like you don't have to change anything at all.
Consistency compounds. When consistency compounds, you get a good life. Many times people want to rush, they want to accelerate the journey, but they don't understand that the journey is lifelong. There is no end goal, there is no end destination. You are in this journey from the moment you were born until you die. So today is just another brick that you're laying to build your ideal house.
What's that deep-rooted reason? So when fear shows up, when failure shows up, when haters show up, when the numbers ain't going right show up, what's gonna keep you committed? What's gonna keep you consistent? You've been consistent in a lot of stuff in life. Are you trying to say that you can't be consistent at something that you love? You can't be consistent at your dreams? You can't be consistent at something that means the world to you? You've been consistent at the wrong things. You've been consistent at pleasing people. You've been consistent at working for somebody else. And you telling me you can't bring that same energy to what you called to do? Come on.
I'm gonna tell you this, bro. There is no getting out of the work. There's no shortcuts. There is no easy route. And there is no quick fix to becoming the greatest version of yourself. The longer that you avoid the hard work, the more comfortable you get in life. Is stay comfortable in the depression, stay comfortable in the situation that you're in right now. Because when you're comfortable, you lose motivation, you lose focus, you lose sight of your goals, you lose sight of where you want to be at in life.
You have the ability to make those changes. There is no difference between you and successful people. The difference is what they do. Your life is created by what you do, your daily habits. Your daily habits determine what your life is going to look like. Who you surround yourself with determines what your life is going to look like.
If tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you give for today? Forget everything else. Forget everything else. Forget that there was any sunlight left. What would you spend today? Think about it. We get one opportunity in life, one chance in life to do whatever you're gonna do, to lay your foundation, to make whatever mark you're gonna make, whatever legacy you're gonna leave your legacy. And it's found through effort. Wins and losses come a dime a dozen. But effort, nobody can judge effort. Because effort is between you and you. Effort ain't got nothing to do with nobody else.
Pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Go for the discipline because it weighs ounces. The regret weighs tons.
95% of our decisions are made by how you feel in the moment. And that is the problem. Do you feel like making that cold call? No, you don't. Do you feel like doing that third set of reps? No, you don't. And if you accept the fact that you may never feel ready, and you may never feel motivated, and you may never feel courageous, and that's okay, but you can still push yourself forward. As you start to see yourself becoming the person that takes action, guess what happens? You build the skill of confidence and courage.
You think that everything the mind tells you, I need to follow. That means freedom. No. For us, it's the other way around. To learn and not follow what the mind tells you. This is the first step towards freedom.
You have to constantly rewrite your book every day of your life. These are conversations I have with myself, and I say it everywhere I go. The most important conversation when you have with yourself. You live with it every single day, but most of our conversations are not the right ones. They're not the ones that are going to push us to the place we need to go. They're the ones that are going to keep us sitting in that toxic environment that you've helped create and everybody else helped create, and you just live in it. And that conversation just plays in your head, and that becomes you.
Working on yourself, talking to yourself. That's so very important. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.
My prayer for you is that you win the battle that no one knows about, because usually those are the toughest.
On the other end of suffering is a life that many people don't know even exists. It's a beautiful world. We all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box, on the other edge of suffering, is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box it's comfortable. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown.
There ain't nothing you can do about what's gonna happen to you. You can't stop life from happening. You can do something about it. Life is 10% what happened to you, is 90% what you do about it. You got to stop tripping every time something happened to you like it's the end of the world. It ain't. Just change your mindset. If you change your attitude, you change your altitude.
To succeed, you gotta overcome your fears, battle your own greed, conquer your own demons, become unsure, second guess everything you believe in, survive through the suffering to figure out the meaning, and go hard to the moment you bring the cream in. You might lose sleep, but it's gonna feel like you're dreaming.
Like the process of self-improvement. At the end of the day, you gotta ask yourself the question, what fulfills you? Like winning and losing, cool, of course it bothers you emotionally, right? But when you put in work, when you prepare, when you give everything you got to something, the process of self-improvement, even if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you still have something to hang on to, knowing that you put some pride into the process of it, right? Just the process of self-improvement. When you do things, you try your best to do it a certain way, right? It's not predicated upon outcome. I'm not doing it, like he said, because I'm trying to attain this. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get this. I'm not doing it for this, because the moment you get into the for this, to get this, like you're gonna be on the emotional roller coaster. So every once in a while, man, I think you gotta pull your head up for a little bit of air and just ask yourself, man, like what is it that fulfills me when I'm chasing that dragon? You know what I'm saying? Fulfillment is a powerful thing.
Best advice I can give you on that is treat the past as a school. Let it teach you the mistakes you've made, the things that went wrong, the things that didn't work. Don't use the past as a burden to carry, and don't use the past as a club to beat yourself to death. Past losses, past failures, past mistakes. But let the past be a school. Tough school maybe, we've all been through some tough stuff. So if you feel good about the past, draw from it for experience and let it teach you. Then next is how you feel about the future. We've got to have the future well designed. The future is called the promise.
Those racing thoughts you have, sleepless nights, the anxiety, it's all there for a reason. It's telling you something. It's telling you that you need to take action. All of those emotions are telling you that you're meant for more than this. So don't ignore it.
You know, don't allow the storms that come into your life to make you lose that gratitude, to make you lose the appreciation for waking up. Learn how to dance in the rain, dance through the storm, embrace the storms, right? Because these things that happen to us, right? Hard times, difficulties, obstacles, they're inevitable. So the best thing you can do is learn how to work with the flow of life rather than against it. You know, don't try to run away from the pain. Don't try to escape the obstacles that come into your life. No, learn how to embrace them head on. Learn how to go through them. because that's where growth happens.
Everyone's just looking out for themselves, and that's okay. But it's time for you to start prioritizing yourself too. Trust that things will fall into place and that everything will work out for the best. You've overcome a lot through this journey and stayed hopeful even when things felt impossible. It's okay to be selfish too. It's your turn now to get what you deserve.
You're not really enjoying, while you pursue the goal, whatever it is in your life, if you're not really enjoying the doing because you are so focused on becoming and achieving and arriving at this future point, that the enjoyment of the doing is so greatly diminished or disappears completely because all you want to do is arrive, but you're not there yet.
I can't handle not knowing. I can't handle not finding out. I don't want to not find out. The not knowing will drive me crazy. The wondering what if. What was I going to be embarrassed of failure? Going to be ashamed of losing? I mean, those are already two things that when I just say them, if I hear somebody else say that to me, I'm reaching out going, no, dude, feel more. No, don't be ashamed. Screw up. Find out.
Number one, you have to stop regretting the past. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't forget the past. You can learn from it and get better from it so you don't make the same mistakes, but you got to stop regretting the past. Number two is stop worrying about the future. Psychologists have found that 85% of what you worry about on a daily basis will never happen. That's a waste of your energy. That's a waste of your time. And then number three, stop looking for your happiness in other people. Other people cannot make you happy. It is absolutely impossible.
When you form a partnership, you make one decision. My decision is to be great. My decision is to be unstoppable. My decision is to win. My decision is to whatever it may be. Then after you make that decision, you got to commit to it. How many times have you talked yourself out of the commitment? You've talked yourself out of the commitment.
It's not a bad thing to be unique. It's not a bad thing to be different. Not a bad thing to be comfortable with yourself, regardless of what everybody else around you is doing.
Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down and not going the way you want it to. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one that's to come?
The quality of self-discipline is the quality that will make you a big success. It's the ability to force yourself to do what you know you should do. And here is the wonderful discovery. This persistence is self-discipline in action. Every time you persist, you build your self-discipline. Every time you practice self-discipline, you build your ability to persist. And the two of them are tied into your self-esteem. So the more you persist, the more you like yourself. And the more you like yourself, the more discipline you have. And the more discipline you have in practice, the more you like yourself. As a result, the more you persist. And eventually you get onto an upward spiral where you become absolutely unstoppable. You reach the point where you know you can achieve the goal and nothing in the world can stop you. And every step that you take forward makes you stronger and stronger and stronger until finally people say, I know one thing about him, I know one thing about her. You cannot stop him or her. Once they decided they want something, they will not stop until they get it. And when you develop that quality, there will be nothing that is impossible to you.
Go do something that's hard. Go try and accomplish something that's hard. You may win, you may lose, you may succeed, you may fail. I'll tell you what, you'll be better. If you avoid those things that are hard, if you don't accept that challenge, if you don't step up and step into that cold water, I can tell you this is not a good move. Just get up, move towards that challenge, whatever that challenge is. And you may be successful and you may not be successful, but you will be better.
You have to discipline yourself. Go do something. Do the best thing that you can think of. Put the best plan you have into practice. It's not going to be perfect and it will change along the way, but it will change partly because you become disciplined pursuing the path. And as you become disciplined, you become wiser. And as you become wiser, you become able to formulate better and better plans.
Sometimes you just need to admit to yourself that you have no idea who you are or what you're doing. Everything is changing all the time. It's normal to have weeks where you feel lost, months where you don't recognize yourself, and years that leave you with more questions than answers. Don't see it as a step backwards. Humble yourself, because that's life's way of redirecting you, letting you know that you have the chance to find yourself again. Seize the opportunity.
All of us, nobody's perfect. We failed too many times. We have so many uncertainty in our life that we have to be capable when we are down to stand up. It's part of the journey, it's part of the process, it's part of our education. In my case, I learned the most when I'm down. And it's good that these certain moments happen, because when you are in the top of the wave, you don't see under what's going on. It's good to have problems. It's the only way that you can improve.
How do you overcome the fear of failure when trying something new? By far the easiest thing I found to deal with this is to think of every single thing in life as an experiment. It's just an experiment. So everything in life is an experiment. And therefore failure isn't really failure. Failure is just another data point.
Don't let complaining conquer your life. See if you can't drive it into a small corner. That's the season of summer. Nourish your values like a mother and fight your enemies like a father. Even if you have to fight the enemies that are within yourself. Make this note. Don't become a victim of yourself. It's possible to become a victim of tragedy. It's possible to become a victim of gossip. It's possible to become a victim of the things that happen out there, but here's the most important thing. Don't become a victim of yourself. Forget the thief in the alley that's after your purse. What about the thief in your mind that's after your promise?
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere, when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. So you got to love it, you got to have passion.
You have to become the kind of person that can push through the hard times. Most people can't do that.
No matter how long it takes, keep going. No matter how much it hurts, keep going. So you was placed on this earth for a reason. You weren't meant to be average, you were meant to excel. You gotta understand that this grind is meant to make you who you're supposed to be, a dog. A little grind ain't never hurt nobody. Stop being soft, let's embrace it.
Most people cannot push through the challenging, the draining, the frustrating times that make everybody else quit. So you have to build yourself into someone who has the discipline, the fortitude, the grit, the perseverance to push through the hard times, to become someone who is literally fucking incapable of quitting.
You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you? You need to put yourself on punishment. You need to tell you no more TV, no more snacks, no more desserts, no, we working out now. No more alcohol, not right now. I can't handle it right now. You need to tell you that you owe you something.
I don't look at failure as failure. I look at failure as your first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. I look at them as attempts. Because when you're trying to do something that's bigger than you, whatever you are, you didn't fail, motherfucker. That was your first attempt. We give so much power to words. I don't. I take the power right away. I didn't feel shit.
People will tell you things based on their experience, but they don't know anything because everything is subjective. They don't know who you are or what you've been through. They tell you they tried for their dreams, but it didn't work out, so they gave up. And they discourage you to chase yours. But you need to do that for yourself because nobody knows what will happen. And even if it doesn't work out, there's still something to be learned in the process. Stay true to yourself and do your thing.
Half the year is gone. What stages in your life, in your goals, are you closer to at this point in the year? And which are you stuck in that are exactly the same? And what do you have to do to change that?
Consuming our mind every single day with worries, my friend, is a disservice to your energy, to your gift, to your potential, to your mission, to yourself. Because all that energy your mind has, the ideas that could flow to you, the solutions, it's a missed opportunity because you're swimming in worries. Why worry that much? But this is a practice. We often forget that developing a positive mind, we don't just have a positive mind. Some of us are hardwired a little bit differently, yes. But it's a practice. It's something we do every single day. We wake up and we look and we place meaning into life. We don't wait for meaning to come to us like the wind. No, we place meaning with intention into the things that we do.
You're only excited about the outcome of something and not the process of doing it. You shouldn't do it because the outcome's uncertain. So you have to really enjoy who you're becoming, what you're learning, what you're getting out of it, not just the actual outcome of making money or selling your business.
You losing. And you're not losing because you're a loser. You losing because you focusing on losing. That's all you focused on. What do they think? Believe in you if you don't believe in you, and you losing. And you losing because you're overthinking everything you do because you got to get their approval to do it. So I need you to start doing what winners do. Winners focus on winning. Winners focus on scoring. Winners focus on dominating. Winners focus on showing up. Winners don't care what losers think about them. And winners don't care what other winners think about them. All they care about is winning. So do me a favor, you a winner. Start saying what you know and what you understand. And I promise you, if you start focusing on winner, you're gonna win. Losers lose and winners win. It's time for you to win.
Here was the best promise my mentor ever gave me. He said, Mr. Owen, if you will change, everything will change for you. Wow, I took that to heart. And sure enough, the more I changed for the better, the more I changed from having a poor day to a good day, from lack of discipline to discipline, everything changed.
That thing that's hard to do discourages a whole bunch of other, all by itself, because the person who's willing to suffer the longest wins. And so we choose things that are incredibly hard to do. And you've heard me say pain and suffering a lot. And it's actually a positive attribute. People who can suffer are ultimately the ones that are the most successful.
I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose.
Secret of the age is that you have the power to do more than you could ever begin to imagine. Don't underestimate yourself. You don't know enough about yourself to become a cynic. And so you've got to challenge yourself to access that power that you have within you. You're more than a conqueror.
You can hope, you can wish, you can dream, you can say you're gonna, but the reality is until you start stacking wins day by day by day by day, nothing's going to happen. The game is played one day at a time. And if you have the capacity to wake up today, go through the entire day, do everything you're supposed to do, and execute on those for one day, that means you can do it again the next day. And that means you can do it again the next day. You have exactly what's required to win at the highest level you could ever possibly win at. It's about stacking wins in a cumulative fashion over the course of time. And when you do that, winning is undeniable.
You need to make it a habit to start every fucking day validating yourself, cheering for yourself, because life is a marathon. And this might be a challenging leg where you're like, I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm not going to do that thing. Hell no. If you're standing in front of that mirror, you deserve to feel the support and empowerment and encouragement that you need. You are doing so much every single day that you don't give yourself credit for.
A lot of folk
won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. Oh, you don't want me to live that down? How you want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did? Guess what? I'm not interested. That's what I did then. Won't do it today, so you're picking on an innocent man.
The thing that's so interesting about being alive is that you're all in. No matter what you do, you're all in. This is going to kill you. So I think you might as well play the most magnificent game you can while you're waiting.
You have to start living your life in expectation. You have got to start expecting great things to happen for you in order for it to happen. If you live your life in expectations, that's what happens to you. If you live your life in despair, that's what happens to you. I'll never be rich. You won't. You won't. The moment you change the frequency that your tower emits, different things come back to you.
You have this kind of convoluted, limiting belief about why you can't do something right now that's this your own BS story you keep telling yourself. How about you just drop that story? How about you just decide it's a lie? Every day, some of us are killing ourselves with the shame we carry from something we've done, some humiliation, some fear. We put this gun to our head every day that tells us we're not enough. We're not strong enough, pretty enough, smart enough. You do it over and over and over again, and there's a better way forward. You can put those things down in your life. You could decide today that you were born to do something great. You could set aside this weapon that you keep using against yourself to hold you back from your joy, from your passion, from your achievement, from all the goodies in life. You could decide today, just intentionally, to set this weapon down, whatever it is.
I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. There is no reason not to follow your heart.
One thing that you need to realize is that you're a lot closer to your dreams than you think. And it isn't because you're one step away. It's because the person in the dream is you. It's just a version of you that's not yet come to life.
The last attitude is how you feel about yourself. Nothing more powerful than self-esteem, which creates self-confidence. The greatest steps towards success come from self-confidence. And that comes from self-esteem, doing what you know you should, so that at the end of the day, you have high self-esteem.
Being yourself creates confidence. Because the more that you pretend to be somebody that you're not, the more self-doubt, the more fear and paralysis that you're going to feel. And I am here to tell you, confidence is waiting for you to show up. Confidence is the willingness to try. I want you to try more. I want you to be brave. Because every time you start to show up as yourself, the confidence is going to build. It's not a personality trait, it is a skill. And this is fantastic news, because if it's a skill, it means you can practice this skill and you can build confidence. Because every time you try, you become more confident in who you're becoming. Even when you're full of doubt, if you move ahead and you do it anyway, you are building confidence. And that's the truth about life. It's that simple.
You need to become your dream. You need to become that future version of you every single day through your daily habits, through your disciplines, by following your mission and your purpose. As soon as you align to your purpose, every day, undeniably, you'll start to see the doors that are closed in front of you open. And you feel it inside of your chest every single day. Stop ignoring it and pick up the phone.
You can move through life at 7 times the rate of other people by simply changing when you say you're going to make a decision from end of week to end of day. 4 decisions that you needed to make. If the normal person takes a week to make the decision, and then their mind moves on to the next thing that they have anxiety for, decide another week, it's a month to make those 4 decisions. Whereas the Superman takes One decision day 1, second decision day 2, third decision day 3, fourth decision day 4. They aren't even finished the week yet, and they're where the other person is at the end of the month. That speed of decision making, like not paying the attention cost, the opportunity cost of your time, I think it's really profound in terms of how quickly people move through life.
You can't wait for nobody else to fix you. You can't wait for nobody else to mature. You can't wait for nobody else to get to that part in their life where they come. You can't wait. I got great things in store for you. All I'm asking you to do is let this go so I can give you everything you've ever wanted, so I can put you where you always want to be, so I can put you where I ordained you to be, son. I gave you a gift. I can't play like you play. Humans play. I don't play. We got to stop all this talking. And we got to start doing, because when we do, people want to follow you when it seems like it's working.
The most important question to ask is, what pain do you want in your life? What are you willing to struggle for? Anything worthwhile is going to require some degree of pain and struggle. So, if you're oriented toward the pain and the struggle, you're probably going to be more aligned with what you're capable of accomplishing, rather than if you just orient toward the pleasures. We say, find the thing which you enjoy the most, but really what you're finding is, what is the pain you're prepared to swallow the most? Nothing worthwhile is going to come without discomfort.
Let's say you're in the hospital bed and you're getting ready to die, and somebody walks in the room, and you don't know them, they don't know you, and you have one copy of your book, and it's sitting right there on the table. And you're taking your last breath, and you're talking to this person, and you say to them, I want you to read this book. As you're dying, think about this. That book that you just wrote, that woman, man, whatever, reading that book, would it change their life forever? And if it's not changing their life forever, you have to rewrite your book.
The power of right now and having one more moment and one more minute is so beautiful. It's so blessed. It's so big. It's so amazing. Why would we spend that minute in history? Why would we spend that minute in the past when we could be fully present and creating the future? And so, I think most people think, Jay, everyone else is gonna die. I think they just, I'm not gonna die. Or they go, I'll get around to being happy. I'll get around to making my masterpiece of my life. I'll get around to my dreams. I'm gonna get around to fixing this relationship that's broken. I'm gonna get around to feeling those emotions. And then it's another day, and they keep it in the distance until there are no more days. And I don't care if you're 18 years old listening to this, 28 or 48. We don't know if we have one more day or 100 more days or 1,000 more days. But we know this, there'll eventually be a time where we don't have any more days. And so why would we spend the ones that are coming looking at the past?
Don't focus on the past. It's gone. You'll never get it back. Don't worry about the future. It's not here yet. You have to learn to live in this present moment and figure out a way to make it beautiful. And remember that the purpose of your life is nothing else other than to learn to enjoy the passage of time.
So here's the good news. You aren't going backwards, and you probably never will be. You can't undo your progress or unlearn things that took you so long to figure out. Failure, mistakes, and wrong decisions are all still progress. Because even if you don't succeed immediately, you still learn a lesson. And if necessary, you learn it again. Whichever one it is, no matter how much it hurts, you're still moving forward.
No matter what has happened to you till now, you will use the experience of life only to upgrade your life, not to degrade your life. Whatever is past, whether it is the previous moment or many years ago, whatever is past is dead. It has no influence on our lives. It is only the way we react to it. If you take this vow to respond to your past, to see how the experience of life is turned into wisdom and not into a wound within you.